Hello, I'm here and I'm going to be talking about May releases, just going through the major releases coming out this month and then saying how excited I am. I'll do like a scale, I guess, from like 1 to 10 of excitement rating, 10 being like I'm gonna be there opening night, and 1 being I will not see this. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna go chronologically from like the ones coming out the first weekend of May till the end. There's 10 here, and there's 2 from May 2nd. The first one being this new Nick Cage movie, The Surfer, which premiered at some film festival to a considerable amount of praise last year, and I have been dying to check out ever since. Cage is, in a great spot in his career, obviously. Has really beat like the is he good or bad allegations. Like, I think we know he's really good at this point, even if there's some performances that aren't necessarily the best from him. I've really only seen like a little teaser of this, and it looks like he's, gonna go a little crazy in this one, as Cage tends to do. But yeah, it's about a guy who like goes back to his hometown, I think, and wants to surf at a beach, and then people are like, "You can't surf here," and then he freaks out. It's like a thriller. I think it looks really fun. It could go either way. It could be just really stupid, ridiculous overacting from Cage, or it could be like a genuinely great movie. I don't know, but either way, I'm really interested in checking it out. I probably, out of a scale of 1 to 10, how excited I am, I think I'd say like 6 out of 10. I probably won't be there opening night, but I'm definitely gonna check it out. The second movie and the more major release of the May 2nd weekend is Thunderbolts, which is obviously the new Marvel movie. Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, ensemble here, and I'm pretty mixed on the ensemble in general. I think that David Harbour is really annoying, especially in the trailers. He's really getting on my nerves. The stupid Russian accent is just obnoxious. I really don't like it. I've really disliked every time Julia Louis-Dreyfus shows up in the MCU as well. So there's a mixed bag. There's also a couple people where I'm just like, why are you here? Why are you in another Marvel movie? Like, you weren't very interesting in your first go around. Like, they're giving Ghost and Taskmaster another shot. I don't really know why. But the main 2 people in this movie, Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, I really like. And the trailers don't look terrible. There was that one where they were like advertising this as like a bunch of different people, actors and creative people, directors, writers, production designers, are like all from different A24 projects, essentially. It almost seem like they're indie, I guess, which is a little annoying, but does point to the fact that there is some talent in front of and behind the camera that I think might translate to something here, maybe. Obviously, there's been filmmakers who have been really great that have then gone on to be in like the Marvel formula, and the movies still come out like really bland and flat and directorless feeling. So I don't know. I think this one could also go either way, much like The Surfer, but it will be a pretty fun time, I'm assuming. I would probably say like 7 out of 10 excitement. There's not really anything I could find for the May 9th release window, maybe because, they're trying to give Thunderbolts some space. I guess Hollywood as a whole is, and The Surfer, obviously, because everyone's going to go see The Surfer. But the next weekend is May 16th, and there's a couple of pretty exciting releases there. The first one being Friendship, the new Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd movie that is a directorial debut of, I think, Andrew DeYoung is his name, some friend of Tim Robinson. This is 10 out of 10 stars excitement rating. I cannot wait for this movie. I love Tim Robinson. I think he's really funny. I think Paul Rudd is going to be a really good comedic collaborator with him. The trailer got me really excited, but also didn't like reveal too much. There's really no jokes in the trailer, which is genius, because then all the jokes are new and fresh when you go into the actual movie. And the concept, it just kind of sounds like a very extended I think you should leave skit, and that's not a bad thing. I think maybe there could be some, misses in the jokes, but generally, I am just very excited to see like a really funny comedy on the big screen with like a huge crowd again. Assuming this will draw in a big crowd, I don't know. I can't tell if I Think You Should Leave is like a very popular show or if it's just popular with people that I know. But regardless, this is gonna be maybe the most fun I had in the theater all year, and I cannot wait. The other release is a bit more of a mixed bag. It is Hurry Up Tomorrow, the new Weekend movie that is a companion to his album that came out this year of the same name, which was pretty good actually. A little bit too long in my opinion, but had some really great songs on it. Obviously, The Weeknd's first foray into, you know, film and television was The Idol, which was an unmitigated disaster. I only watched the first two episodes, but it was bad, and in particular, his acting is atrocious. But there is a silver lining to this film. The first one being that it is being advertised as a weekend movie, but it's also being advertised as a Trey Edward Schultz film, which I am more excited about that aspect of it, as Trey Edward Schultz has had two really great movies so far. It Comes at Night, and in particular Waves, which I think is really underrated and just incredibly well made. I love what he's doing with like the aspect ratios and like the switch up of tone halfway through. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So anything that Trey Edward Schultz is attached to after that, and it's been a long time since Waves. So anything he's attached to after that, I would check it out no matter what. It happens to be a pretty, you know, big release that is also attached to one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So I guess that's kind of exciting too. The concept seems kind of cool as well. Jenna Ortega plays like an obsessed fan of The Weeknd, and it kind of seems like Misery and King of Comedy, like an examination of celebrity and like obsession with celebrity that I think could be pretty interesting. And the fact that The Weeknd is playing a character who is like himself could, you know, make his performance a little better, a little more believable, just because he'll be sort of in his wheelhouse and he'll be doing something that he is comfortable with rather than what he was doing in The Idol, which was like, I don't know what that was. But yeah, Jenna Ortega and Barry Keoghan are also pretty interesting additions to the cast. So I could see this being bad. I could see them like trying to go for trendy TikTok small scenes, like almost like a Saltburn vibe, where they're just trying to be like as crazy as possible to get people talking about their movie. But I do think the fact that Trey Edward Schultz is attached does get me very excited. I think stylistically he could do something really impressive with this movie. I don't know who's doing the score. I hope it's someone that has been working with The Weeknd, like Mike Dean or 1-0-Tricks Point Never, because they've done scores. 1-0-Tricks has done the Safdie Brothers scores. I'm actually gonna look it up. It actually is 1-0-Tricks Point Never in collaboration with The Weeknd. Yeah, that's cool. I think stylistically this is gonna be an incredible movie. I just don't know if narratively or like thematically it will be as good, or like performance wise, but I am relatively optimistic about it. I would give it a 7 out of 10 in the excitement rating. The next weekend has two blockbuster releases of varying degrees of expected quality. The first one being Lilo and Stitch live action remake. Excitement rating, I will give this a, I don't know, like a 3 out of 10. The only real excitement I have for this is that the director behind Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is doing this, and I really like that movie, and I think that could translate, the tone of that could translate really well to a Lilo and Stitch movie. Could be really fun, could be very sweet, I guess, but I'm not interested in Lilo and Stitch. I've never even seen the original, and I'm definitely not interested in these live action Disney movies, so I probably will not watch this unless the buzz is like incredible and everyone's saying it's one of the best movies ever, which I doubt is going to happen. The other release is Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I've been watching all the Mission Impossible movies in preparation for this. I'll probably do a ranked either before or after. I'm not sure if I want to add this one to it, but I am pretty excited. The runtime was revealed to be 3 hours, which is, you know, that's very long. But this feels like kind of a big epic send-off to the franchise, even if I doubt it's gonna really be the final one. Obviously, this is a follow-up to Dead Reckoning, and they're very much like a part one, part two. Even if they're not using that terminology anymore for whatever reason, they dropped the part two of this one and called it Final Reckoning. I don't know why they name things the way they do, but I thought Dead Reckoning was pretty good for the most part, but the plot was the real issue I had with it, and like this whole AI villain thing, I'm not super into. But I'm not really going there for the plot. I'm going there for Tom Cruise to like whatever he's doing this time, like jumping from one plane to another plane. That sounds cool. Um, I don't know. This is gonna be a fun time for sure. I don't know if it's going to be a great movie, but I think that these Mission Impossible movies have really started to hit their stride lately. I would go 7.5 out of 10 on the excitement rating, and I will definitely check this out over Lilo and Stitch any day of the week. So, yeah. And then we get the final weekend of May, which is actually kind of stacked. There is 4 releases that I am personally interested in. The first one being Bring Her Back, the new Ryan and Michael Philippou movie, their follow-up to Talk to Me, which I thought was one of the best horror movies of 2020s so far. Really great effects, really great concept, is a lot of fun and very tense and scary, but is also like diving into stuff about grief that I thought was very interesting. I have not seen the trailer for Bring Her Back yet. I want to kind of be left in suspense and go in completely blind. Surprisingly, I have not seen anything about this movie really except for the poster, and I know that Sally Hawkins is in it, which I love. I hope that she is, given the same material that I think her name was Sophie Wilde in Talk to Me. That was kind of like her breakout role. I think horror movies, especially like these A24 more elevated horror movies, give their leads the opportunity to deliver some of their best stuff. And Sally Hawkins is like one of the best actresses out there, and I think she could absolutely kill a lead role in a horror movie. So I don't know the concept. It could be connected to Talk to Me in some way. I know they were trying to do a prequel. Maybe this is that prequel, but I really have no idea. I can't wait to go in blind and just figure out what this is on the fly. So because I don't know what it is exactly, I just know the names attached. I'm not sure how excited I am for it, but I'll do 7.5 out of 10. I think this is gonna be one of the better horror movies of the year. The other one is Life of Chuck, which is the new Mike Flanagan movie based off some Stephen King short story that seems to be like one of his more sentimental dramas in the vein of like Stand By Me or Shawshank Redemption. This won the Audience Award at TIFF last year, which I don't really know if that means anything, honestly. It stars Tom Hiddleston, and it's about a guy named Chuck and his life, I guess. I saw the trailer, but like it really didn't reveal anything at all. And just the vibe of it, I don't know, just doesn't look super my thing. Looks very like sentimental and sappy, in a way that I don't really gravitate towards. But it could be okay. I don't know. I'm not very thrilled. I'm not like on the edge of my seat for this one. So I'd say like a 5 out of 10, and I would check this out after like every other movie that is releasing in this weekend. And then the big release of this weekend is The Phoenician Scheme, the new Wes Anderson movie, which is, I would say, a 10 out of 10 excitement rating. I cannot wait for this movie. I love that Benicio del Toro is getting an opportunity to lead a Wes Anderson movie. I thought he was one of the best parts of The French Dispatch. Speaking of The French Dispatch, this visually looks like it's very much in the vein of that movie, as well as Asteroid City, which I don't want to spoil anything because I might do like a Wes Anderson ranked video, but like those are some of my favorite looking Wes Anderson movies. But French Dispatch had like the short story anthology thing going for it, and then Asteroid City was like very meta and just like kind of a mess in a way. This seems like one of his most straightforward narrative films in quite a while. It's a heist movie apparently, which, I mean, a Wes Anderson heist movie sounds absolutely incredible. The cast is, stacked as always with Wes. I'm particularly excited to see Michael Cera in this movie. He is just, people have been saying this since he's been cast, but he is just born to be in a Wes Anderson movie. and the trailer, like his voice, the glasses, his hairdo, like it's perfect. He looks like he's like right at home in this movie. I don't want to know too much about this movie going in, and I don't really. It's probably a heist movie, but I really have no idea. I'm very excited. Wes Anderson's one of my favorite directors. Always a fun time to watch his movies. This one looks particularly funny. There was a couple of really, really good jokes in the trailer, which a lot of people have said this about the trailer. It looks kind of like I don't know, like a parody of a Wes Anderson movie because it's so Wes Anderson-y, which has been his MO the past couple of movies. But not to spoil my ranking, I love that. It's great that he's leaning so much into the hyper stylized, like dollhouse look that he has really perfected. And I cannot wait for this. This is gonna be awesome. The last movie that is coming out May 31st, not theatrically, actually, it's gonna be a straight to HBO Max movie. That is Fountainhead, the new Jesse Armstrong movie that he has written and directed. His first thing since Succession. Succession, probably my favorite show of all time. So I'm on the edge of my seat to see whatever Jesse Armstrong is going to do next. Nicholas Britell is also back creatively as the composer. I think he's one of the best composers in the world right now. The score of Succession is unbelievable. The trailer, very strong Succession vibes, and that it's like a satire of the ultra rich that is like heavily political. The quartet of people in this movie, because it seems like a very like isolated four people in a cabin, for like really wealthy individuals that are like tech moguls all in a cabin together. It stars Steve Carell, Rami Youssef, Jason Schwartzman, Corey Michael Smith. Four people I really, really like and I think are going to have really good chemistry together. The trailer did not wow me though. The jokes weren't that great. The dialogue seemed really, really on the nose about what it was getting at. I'm also curious to see how Jesse Armstrong's writing translates to film, because you only have like, hour and a half to 20 minutes to convey all these ideas and like build up an entire character. And Succession is a lot about like how the dynamics between the characters shift through episodes, through seasons. It's very like long format oriented, that writing. And I wonder how he's like such a talented writer that I think he could pull it off and he could adapt really well to whatever format he's working with. But I am just curious to see how that changes. I don't know about this one because the people that are attached I like a lot, but the trailer isn't great. So I would say my excitement rating is probably like a 6.5. I'm definitely gonna check it out on Max like the day it comes out, but I'm not sure if I will really like it all that much. That's it, just to give my 3 most anticipated movies of May. I would say The Phoenician Scheme, Friendship, and then either Bring Her Back or Final Reckoning. Those are kind of tied. I think it's going to be a great month for movies. It was really slow the first 3 months of this year, but oddly enough, the Minecraft movie kind of like energized things a little bit, even though I'd never seen that movie and I will never see that movie. But like Sinners felt like the first quintessential you have to watch this in the theaters movie in a very long time, and I hope that that momentum like rides into Thunderbolts and then rides into Mission Impossible and just rides into everything going on in May and this summer, because this is a very important year for movies. Like movies really have to do good this year or theaters are really in trouble. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the movies a lot. That's for sure. Yeah, that's all I got. I think next week I'll do a Thunderbolts review. I'm pretty sure, depending on if I'm able to see it. And that's it. So, yeah, goodbye.